Now, to get into the spooky stuff.
Starting us off, we have Claire in the studio to tell us more about some of the films she watched at Fantastic Fest last month.
Let's hear it.
Hey sneak peekers! Emily and I were both lucky enough to attend Fantastic Fest a few weeks ago, and with Halloween just days away, I thought it would be the perfect time to share with you my thoughts about some of the horror and other films I watched at the festival. I kicked off my time at Fantastic Fest with a film called Bloody Oranges by French director Jean-Christophe. This dark comedy weaves together a handful of odd, unique storylines, including a retired couple that decide to enter a dance competition to save themselves from a financial crisis, and a minister who's being accused of tax fraud. While these plots may seem amusing at first glance, this film is definitely not for the faint of heart. Maurice takes the genre of dark comedy to a whole new level with gruesome themes and imagery that, at many times, I couldn't stomach. Ultimately, though, it does a great job of conveying the film's overall theme of everyone having dark, mysterious secrets. In an interview, Maurice explains that the symbolism of an orange shows that, quote, on the outside, we're super sweet, we look attractive. But inside us, there's this bloody juice waiting to explode. We're caught between the desire to be a social construct of being sweet and the savage drives that are feeding our hearts, end quote. Another film I had the pleasure of viewing at Fantastic Fest was a documentary called The Found Footage Phenomenon by directors Sarah Appleton and Philip Escott. Although found footage horror films aren't really my thing, it was actually really interesting to learn about the origins of the subgenre and what makes these kinds of films so popular from the people who make these films themselves. I'm not going to get into too much detail about the content of the documentary itself, but I will say that if you're a fan of movies like the Blair Witch Project and Paranormal Activity franchise, this is definitely worth the watch. A lot of films are discussed in the documentary, including those, and you'll more than likely be introduced to some that you've never even heard of, which means you might find something new you can watch on Halloween. So definitely give the found footage phenomenon a watch if you're a horror fan or a history buff. On the other hand, I'm so excited to share with you all my review on one of the most creative films I've seen in a while, Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes. While this film took more of a sci-fi route as opposed to horror, Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes was without a doubt my top pick at this year's Fantastic Fest. The film follows Kato, a cafe owner with a crush on the shopkeeper's daughter next door, who realizes one night when closing up shop that the computer monitor in his upstairs apartment begins to stream video from the monitor downstairs, except the video stream from downstairs is 2 minutes in the future. After chatting with his future self for a bit, Kato goes downstairs and lo and behold, sees video of himself upstairs and begins having the same conversation with himself that he had 2 minutes prior. The film then follows Kato and his friends using this vessel of seeing into the future to their advantage for a multitude of things, from asking the shopkeeper's daughter on a date and gauging her reaction, to buying scratch-off tickets and seeing which ones will yield the best outcome. However, things start to go awry when Kato and his friends bring the upstairs monitor downstairs, face them towards each other, and create a loop that allows them to see more than just 2 minutes ahead. While a bit trippy to watch and understand at first, the adventures that Kato and his friends go on as they explore the curiosity of the future while simultaneously trying not to destroy the current makeup of space and time kept me on the edge of my seat throughout the entire film. Director Junta Yamaguchi did a stellar job of mixing suspense, comedy, and fantasy. Not to mention that the entire film was shot on an iPhone, which wasn't revealed nor was it noticeable until the credits. Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes is currently not available to stream, but it's been picked up by Canadian distributor Indican for North American distribution, so hopefully it will be available to stream soon. I definitely want to watch this again, and I suggest that you all eventually give it a watch too. As always, everyone here at Sneak Peek can't wait for next year's Fantastic Fest, but in the meantime, please feel free to get into the spooky spirit by throwing on one of this year's Fantastic Fest selections. I promise you won't regret it.